it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, a Champions League quarter-final podcast, because that's where Aston Villa are going to go to face the mighty PSG. Arne Slot said yesterday after they lost after Liverpool lost to PSG that unfortunately we came up against PSG, one of the richest clubs in the world. And I think I can say as an Aston Villa fan now, today on the 12th of March, regardless of the result against PSG, whether we win, lose or draw, fortunately, we get to pit our wits against one of the richest clubs in the world in PSG, because we're in the Champions League quarterfinal, and I am absolutely ecstatic. That game was, I know a lot of people on Twitter were fretting, and a lot of people in the stadium actually messaged me, and they were fretting for most of the first half, even after the player was sent off. But you know, Aston Villa went out there. They kept it tight in the first half. Yes, there was a couple of errant passes. Yes, they invited Club Brugge onto them at times. Van Aken had a header that flashed wide. Matty Cash passed the ball directly to a Club Brugge player who took a shot. But you know, Aston Villa were camped on the edge of their box. But I never felt very nervous at any stage, you know, needing to score 2 goals at that instance, with us always looking a small bit dangerous, or at least going to have our purple patch where we're going to be dangerous on the break. I wasn't too worried. And then when the red card happened, it was like feet up time. I had no qualms about us winning that game at that stage. And while we didn't improve, I suppose, from a performance point of view in the first half, it was when the second half happened, obviously, and we had all of our players come off the bench. Well, not all our players, Asensio and Bailey, come off the bench at half time. And it was the two of them that combined in the 50th minute for Aston Villa's first goal. Bailey nonchalantly just flicking the ball in between 2 Bruges players. Asensio coming onto it, and a brilliant finish into the top of the net. Really, really great goal. The second goal then being an Ian Matson. Was it Morgan? Rashford plays the ball. Was it Rashford plays the ball to Rodgers? Rodgers gets to the end line, cuts it back, and Matson pinballs it in off a couple of Bruges players to get his goal on the night. And then Asensio pops up for his second goal on the night after making an absolutely glorious run, taking the ball down and crashing one off the post. He gets his second goal. I can't even remember how he got it. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't remember how he got it. Yeah, but he got his second goal anyway. Completely blank on how he scored his second goal. But I don't really care, because the scoreline is all that really matters. And look, Bruges at the end, it probably sums it up. Both managers were talking to the fourth official. Both agreed, listen, don't bother playing any injury time. The tie is over. It's 6-1 to Aston Villa. Let's shake hands and let's walk off the field. And everyone of those in attendance, all those Aston Villa fans who got their scarves today, will be absolutely bouncing as they get out of Villa Park, in the knowledge that Aston Villa will have a quarter-final tie against Paris Saint-Germain. And no, I won't be able to go to it. And yes, I am pissed off, because it's the 8th of April, or the week of the 8th of April, the 7th or 8th of April, and the 8th and 9th of April, I think it is, or the 15th and 16th of April, I think, are the dates. But it's the week of the 8th and the week of the 15th. And unfortunately, Muggins here decided to go in and get married on the 19th of April. So I'll never get shore leave to go to that game. Not that I probably would deserve a ticket. There's a lot of other people way more deserving than me of a ticket to a match as prestigious as that. And that's what the scrum is going to be over the next few weeks, to try and get tickets for that brilliant encounter. An encounter that I think Aston Villa will be primed for. I think an encounter that, you know, it's not coming at the best time for us, considering we're going to have a game on the 30th of March. We're going to have a game on the 2nd of April, a game on the 5th of April. If the Premier League were sound, they might move that game on the 5th of April against Nottingham Forest into a later date, give us a chance. But I doubt that the Premier League would do something like that. So Villa will be coming off realistically having 4 games in, so 30th of March, 2nd of April, 5th of April, 8th or I think it's 8th or 9th of April. So you're looking at 4 games there in 9 days, which isn't exactly ideal. But look, we got to roll with the punches there. As far as I'm aware, we got that's the way we will line up for that. But hey, let's not fucking give out about anything. Aston Villa are Champions League quarterfinalists in the first iteration of this new Champions League, and at our first return to it since the early 80s. Aston Villa have never failed to not get to the quarterfinals, and we're keeping that tradition massively in tow. Not to mention the financial benefits that come with a day like this. Not only the 12.5 million that we get for getting into this million euros we get for getting into this round. We also have the gate receipts, the merchandise, the TV revenue share. All that stuff is big money for Aston Villa. You don't think that all the hospitality will be sold out for Paris Saint-Germain, specifically if Villa have, well, it'll be well sold before the first leg, but if Villa had a lead coming back from Paris, those hospitality tickets would be going for mega bucks. This is where we want to be. This is where we need to be. This is where we should be. Aston Villa are a club of the stature of any club that's played tonight, whether it be Dortmund, whether it be Real Madrid, whether it be Atletico Madrid, whether it be the team that we play, or the Arsenal, whether it be PSV. Any of those teams, they're perennial European challengers, I would say. But Aston Villa are a club of the size and stature and should be there year in, year out. We haven't capitalized on the recent movement of football since the 1990s, but fuck all that. And we are back now in a European quarterfinal, back where this old, historic, traditional, prestigious team deserves to be. I'm feckin' delighted, absolutely delighted. Just a great moment to savor as an Aston Villa fan. And no, we shouldn't be happy with quarterfinal. We should go out and try and win it, get to the semi-final and go bloody win the thing. Absolutely. But you got to take a pause and you got to realize how far you've come. You got to realize how successful this team has been. And I know everybody here does, but I'm saying colloquially, it's important to realize the milestones that you've hit. Because if you're only ever looking at that end goal, and if you don't get to that end goal, you can't appreciate the sacrifices, the pain that it's taken to get so far. Yes, you may fail in your ultimate goal, but there's that hell of a lot of achievements and milestones on the way. And this is a huge one for this club. It's a prestigious one for this club. All eyes, maybe not all eyes, but a lot of eyes are going to be on Aston Villa versus PSG. It's going to be one that's going to have intrigue with it. It's going to have massive intrigue, this fixture. The team that knocked out Liverpool now come up against a team in England a plucky team in England, really, if it was a Liverpool Aston Villa tie, it would be plastered on every single billboard with regards to the Champions League. But it's not. It's a Paris Saint-Germain team that people were a bit skeptical of and have now rocketed out to favourites to win this the whole lot of the Champions League. But they got to get over little Aston Villa first. Perceived little Aston Villa. Aston Villa, who will have one PSG player playing for them, who got 2 goals tonight, who has 8 goals since he's joined this team on loan. They will have Marcus Rashford, who was absolutely brilliant here tonight. Hopefully Ollie Watkins is not injured, and hopefully it's not badly injured. I know that he was down for a while. He did get up and go off on his own under his own weight. But Aston Villa have some real players. And we do. And yes, we'll give out about him. And yes, we'll say, geez, this guy isn't up to scratch or whatever. But Villa have made it difficult for big teams. Manchester City. We play against big teams week in, week out in the Premier League. Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, mentioned before. Teams of the caliber of PSG. So Unai Emery will not be afraid of this team. He will respect this team, and this team will cause us problems because they've got some really good players in positions and really good players of a skill set and a type that do cause this team problems. But fuck it, if you're not in, you can't win. call it Rocky versus Ivan Drago, whatever you want to do, David versus Goliath, whatever way you want to say it. But both of those, the small, the underdog, the small perceived, the perceived dead to rights loser, both won. Now I know both of them may not exactly be true, but they still hold that belief for every single club, every single team, every single whether you're an amateur, whether you're a professional team, you always hold the hope that if you get drawn against a team that's better than you, yes, you have a puncher's chance against anybody. Look at international football. How many international teams are in international tournaments does a team pull off a shock? Was it Saudi Arabia and Argentina? Stuff happens. Mad stuff happens. And I know it's over 2 legs, but we've got the second leg at home at Villa Park. Going out to Paris is going to be really important. And it will be. And I have no idea. I have no crystal ball to know how it's going to happen. But I know that we've got a manager who has managed Paris Saint-Germain before. So this is not just the Marcus Asensio derby. This is also the Unai Emery derby. And he's going to want to get one over on his old team. And I think he can. And he has a habit of doing that. And I've spoken for 11 minutes and 22, 23, 24 seconds straight. And I'm an absolute tinderbox of absolute unbridled joy at the moment, because this is huge. It's huge for Aston Villa. It's where we need to be. Lots of teams have come in and gone to the Champions League, or gotten into the Champions League or whatever, and in the old format maybe gotten to the quarterfinals. This is a difficult road. There's extra games. There's extra liability. There's extra jeopardy. We've seen it with big teams. Man City having to, Man City not performing. PSG didn't perform in the group stages either. Real Madrid didn't really perform in the group stages either. It caught people cold, but it didn't catch Aston Villa Football Club cold. It didn't. And yes, you might talk about people having to time their run. You could just as easily say Villa are timing their run. And we won't, I know that might sound silly, but, we've gotten lucky maybe with the draw against Club Brugge that we got. But now we're going to have to face a big giant, a big lion, a big, predator in the Serengeti of European football. And we're going to face them down eye to eye. And we're not going to be scared, because that's not what Unai Emery does. I'm going to stop with my Alan Partridge puns now, and I'm going to come to some of your comments here. And I do apologize. There's a bazillion comments here. Where else are we? Yeah, so TJ Cox, great. Actually, it was great to meet TJ. I met him at Eamon DC Park there a couple of weeks ago. It was great to meet you, TJ. Says that Emery against a former club, he loves to beat his former employers, and he really does. He takes pride in it. He almost takes it personally when he comes up against a former club. And I'm looking forward to that. I really am. I'm going to scroll down a small bit here. Apologies if I miss anybody's comments. British Mick says Rashford was great, but McGinn was the silent man of the match. Yeah, I think McGinn was good as well today. I think he got through a lot of work, but I look just what Rashford did. I thought that was easily Rashford's best game, for Villa. I thought he was really good today, even when we were stagnant at the start of the game, and when we found it difficult to get out in the first half. He still looked energetic, and he looked like he was playing small bit more centrally at times, and I thought he had a really, really good second half as well. And Scott Taggart agrees. He says Rashford's best game for Villa today. Gary Manders says sending off help, but the best players and manager have managed a game this season. Best players and manager have managed the game this season. Yeah, for sure. I think we were managing that game even in the first half. I think we were trying to manage it, keep them outside us. Right, so if you want to have a pot shot from out far, do it, have it, and if it goes in, well, then more power to you. But we're not going to let you get in behind us like Hypers did in the first leg. And look, it wasn't pretty, and it looked bad, and it looked sloppy at times, and we passed the ball errantly, and we couldn't get our foot in the ball. We couldn't get any foothold in the first half at all. But we do know that Unai Emery likes to have this resting defense, this defense that will draw people on them. We've seen this 3 years of the man in charge. It's not pretty. It's nail biting stuff. and we did it. And look, the sending off does help. It absolutely does help. But if you don't capitalize and stuff like that, well then you've only got yourself to blame. And there was no blaming anybody today, because that second half was absolutely imperious. It was brilliant. So Dico Blanco says, first time in our lifetime that we've reached the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Absolutely, because I was born in 1985, so I wasn't even around the last time we did it. So definitely the first time in my lifetime. Donald says, up the Villa with Asensio. How far can we go in this competition? What a time to be a villain. The man's movement. I spoke about Ousmane Dembele on Twitter last night about the movement he had for that goal against Liverpool. Yes, it was fortuitous that Konate blocks it and he gets to tap it into the back of the net. But Christ, the movement he had for that through the whole lot of that goal, the start-stop of his speed, it was just brilliant. But then you go and you see the other side of movement. You see somebody who could basically jink past you in a phone box. And that's Asensio. His movement is excellent. Like we can talk about the goal that he didn't get, the one that he hits the post with. Excuse me for yawning, but where he hits the post with. Like his movement for that was absolutely savage. It was absolutely brilliant. Like, and I know we're playing against a backline that was retooled, and he was coming in off that left hand side, and Kuipers isn't going to follow him, and Ordonez was probably carrying an injury through most of that half. It looked like, but still, it's their fault for leaving him on, and he cracks one off the post. His movement is brilliant. His movement for cutbacks is like nothing I've ever seen in this Villa team. It really isn't. It's exceptionally good. I'm not just raving because he's scored so many goals for Villa. Like, you just look at the goals he scored for Villa. He's like, the way that he moves in that box with players in and around him, and the way, like, that's the way Villa play. We don't mind if there's players in the box. We cut it back to an area, and it's up to one of our players to be in that area. And he has an absolute, like, it's like he's got a map tattooed in the inside of his eyelids as to where the ball is going to be when we cut that ball back, because he's just there all the time. Or when we play those intricate passes in the box, that's when we come alive, is when he's in the team for that stuff. Incredible stuff. Incredible. You're born with that, like, you are born with that talent of movement, and it's very difficult to teach it. Because you can do it in training all you want, but it's under pressure when the lights are burning bright down on top of you, when there's you can just hear the breath and the pounding of feet behind you, and people chasing you, and fellas, you can see arms flailing in front of you and everything, and you're moving through that. It's like war, and that ball comes to you and you just pop it into the back of the net. Man, I know I'm getting very descriptive with the way I'm talking about things, but as I said, it's just unbridled joy, emotion tonight. It really is, and it's incredible stuff. Like I can imagine Paddy's walking down the street somewhere with a tear flowing out of his eye, and he's just going, this is why we support Villa. Like this, like it's nights like these why we support Villa. It's incredible stuff. John Steele says, apparently we do clean sheets now. 2 in a row. We do clean sheets. It's 2 in a row. Absolutely. Karma baby, you're saying no Asensio for the last day. That would be the first I've heard of it. You can play against your parent team in the Champions League. I will cite Coutinho for Barcelona for Bayern Munich knocked out Barcelona, and Thibaut Courtois was on loan from Chelsea at Atletico Madrid, if I'm not mistaken, and they knocked out Chelsea, I think, a couple of years back. So you can play against your team. And Samuel Ling Jr. played against us for Bologna, came on against us for Bologna. So I unless there's some unwritten rule we don't know about and Asensio can't play, I don't know. But it would be the first we would have heard it. Like, there's no dictate in the league or in the rules of the Champions League that says you can't play against your parent club. Yeah, the one thing I will say about, and the only downside of this is it's a ridiculous schedule, that we have. But we'll give it our best for sure, because it's what is it? Is it Brighton, Notts Forest, so Preston, Brighton, Nottingham Forest, Paris Saint-Germain. I think there's someone in between that as well, and then PSG again. I could bring it up here, but I'm too busy talking and I'm having too much fun talking. And then you guys don't come here for the truth anyway. That's certainly not what you should come here. You should come here for something it's like our journey to the truth on this podcast is like Ryanair. We'll drop you off somewhere near it. And we're not doing it out of badness. It's just we hear things and we don't remember them correctly. That's what it is. Because we're too busy talking. Well, that's me anyway, for sure. I think that's me. And you can trademark that. We're the Ryanair of the truth when it comes to Aston Villa. We'll drop you off somewhere close to it. Where else are we? Dickie says our injured players have come back at the right time. Amen to that. We saw more injured players come back off the bench today in Pau Torres, which I think was good. We got Mings off early enough. Didn't get Watkins off early enough. I'd love to know what the story is with his injury. Has anybody heard anything there? DM me or pop it through on Twitter. I mightn't see it here in the comments because there's a bazillion and one comments here, and I'm kind of scrolling through them and just kind of picking ones at random. I will go back and read them all afterwards, but I just would love to know if anybody has read, seen, or heard, or if Unai has mentioned anything to do with Ollie Watkins' injury as well. But you're dead right, Dickie. Amadou Onana was another man on the bench today. Hopefully we'll have Ross Barkley back soon, and then if we do, we've got a clean bill of health to pick from, provided that Ollie Watkins isn't badly injured or isn't even injured at all. That is for sure. Where are we now? I'm just going to come down here as well. Boom, 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 boom. Exactly, Rob Henry, as you said, in 1982, nobody gave Villa a chance. And do you want to bet against us? That's why we have it as at the start of our entrance intro tune to the podcast, is because, as long as I say, I'm a firm believer, as long as somebody has a puncher's chance, you always have a puncher's chance, and do you want to bet against us is the perfect way to start this podcast. To start any, I suppose, conversation about Aston Villa when we are the underdog, and likely, I'm not saying we're going to win the competition, but PSG, let's get ready for them. Let's be waiting in the long grass for them for sure. Where else are we? Cat Cannon's asking, is Paddy indisposed? Well, he's at the game, and I don't want to. To be honest with you, I want to let him go in and enjoy this. He'll come on tomorrow, maybe when he's back, and tell us what it was like to be at the game. I'd love to have him on now, but as I say, what I was saying at the start, we should go and enjoy these. We should puff our chest out. If you don't celebrate the wins, if you don't, if you don't enjoy the wins like that, well then, getting there is meaningless, and I think he's over there with his son. He's over there with a good mate of ours, Ronan Ward, and many others that are over there. And I hope they're having a cracking night at 10:20, and he's got a red eye in the morning to get back home for work. So to be honest with you, I don't know whether it's red eye because he'll be up so early or whether he'll be so hungover, one or the other. But either way, it's going to be a red eye, I'm sure of that. I'm going to scroll down a bit here. Oh, I've gotten to the end. My ear tap. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was wondering what that was about. Where else are we? John says Mings was great. Yes, he can play 3 games in a row. Yeah, I thought Mings was very good again tonight. Jesus, he's turning the box in the attacking area. His turn and shot was absolutely brilliant. Disappointed that didn't go in. Ali McCoist was blown away with his technique for that one. So fair play to Tyrone Mings. I thought he was great as well. And Donald says, hopefully the Prince is tuned into this one, Neil. Well, Prince William, if you are listening to this at some stage, you're more than welcome to come on at any stage and chat to us over here. Mightn't make the news over here in Ireland as much as it might make it in the UK, but you're more than welcome to pop on and chat to us. We'd only be too delighted. It's great to have royalty following Aston Villa, and it's great to see. And on a serious note, it is great to see him there in the box, and the attention it garners, and the fact that when he's at the games that the camera does pan there because he's the future king of England. That's pretty cool to have him following Aston Villa and to be so vocal and so passionate about it as well. So passionate about it, and you saw him celebrating there at times. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool to have it's close to a worldwide megastar that you'll have sitting in the box at every Villa game that he can go to, and getting those eyes on the club, building the brand for the club. Real Madrid, what are they? Like, they're the royal club of Spain. I know that we could. It'd be great if he could buy in and maybe fund us through some of his cash as well. But it would be like the King of Spain has done in times gone by with Real Madrid. But it's to have that royal connection is cool, and to have him there is great as well. I think I'm beginning to run out of emotion, and either that or I need to go in and have a good cry of joy at some stage, because I can't stop yawning. I'm stifling yawns here to bed. So do apologize. Where are we? Yeah, so I think I'm coming to the end. Also, Anne says Unai's on after the break. I will wait. Will I do something bold here and put on Unai? No, I don't want to risk a copyright strike. I was going to pop Unai up and take the actual sound off and see if I could listen to the sound in my headphones as opposed to listening to it here and chat you through it. But I'll just get a copyright strike and I might be taken off YouTube. So I'm not going to bother, if that's okay, guys. Cool. I'm going to leave you guys go and watch Unai Emery and listen to his press conference. I hope you guys all enjoyed that game. I hope you didn't mind my ramblings here too much. But I'm feckin' ecstatic. I'd like to come back tomorrow with Paddy, talk a small bit more about the game. We've got a lot of time now between when we play again the next time, and properly dissect it. It doesn't really matter how we played tonight. We've gotten our objective, 6-1 on aggregate, into a quarter-final against PSG. And as they say at the start of the podcast, we're going to say it at the end as well. Do you want to bet against us? So guys, go in, enjoy yourself, puff your chest out. Be a proud Aston Villa fan for the next few weeks. Be a very proud Aston Villa fan. And wherever this team takes us, they're going to take us. And it's been brilliant so far. And it's going to be brilliant into the future as well for the rest of this season. So going to bid you all good night, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy. And all that's left to say is up the Champions League quarterfinal Villa.